The world's made of stuff that's okay, just fine. But when something's made by a group of people that really know what they're doing, engineering, time, and passion are put into it, it doubles it. Some people were born and they could write a song, okay? Or they could sing a song. I can't do either. I can't play, I could barely play, but what I can do is figure out how to make something and make it. And my family was from a long line of engineers, and I think something in those genes says, I like to create and make things. When I was a kid in the 50s and I heard that electric guitar, that was a new sound. That was rock and roll, and that was the sound that my parents didn't like. You know, they were from the big band and Benny Goodman and blah, 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 who knows what.
I think with Bill, he got to realize the difference in a good guitar and a not so good guitar, because they worked on all these guitars from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. The guitars changed, and the more they made, it seemed like the quality decreased because they were, increasing volumes of numbers to meet the demand, and that quality element stuck with him.
What's the difference in a handmade instrument and a machine-made? Really, the only difference is who made it.
An electric guitar is such an amazing resource sonically. There's so much texture. There's so much available in a very high-end dynamic guitar. So when we began to do this, it's like, what are we doing this for? Well, we're doing it because we love it, but we have to offer something beyond what you can drive down the road and get inexpensively.
The instruments we make, you don't go through the motions and drill a hole and make this thing and all of a sudden an instrument comes out.
We don't take wood off the shelf and glue it together and put it on a guitar.
You have to actually think about it, manipulate, and do your best. Or it won't work, it won't go on to the next guy.
This stuff is carefully selected, milled, dried, glued up, analyzed, sanded, analyzed again, and it's all worried about. It's all reconsidered. It's all rehashed to make sure that the sound and the look is going to come out in the end product.
It's really not the tools, it's the mentality of the people putting it together. So in this shop, we have 100 guitar players. That helps.
So many of the options that have become standard on the electric guitar line are really inspired by conversations we've had with people desiring special things.
Bill's initial approach to me was like, he goes, listen, we need to find something that you love and you really want to use. That's what it's all about. I prefer instruments that don't force you a certain way. I think every instrument in different combination of woods, pickups, what have you, influence, at least me and a lot of people, how you play.
The Collings electric guitars, we use a lot of mahogany. It's one of our favorite tone woods that we optimize, and the wonderful thing about mahogany is it has such a wide density range. The maple that we also incorporate as part of the look and the sound of these instruments is very carefully selected for the model as well as the finish that's been ordered for a particular look.
The feel that is so important in a guitar of balance and weight, not just sound, tone, not all the stuff that we take for granted, but that feel we've worked so hard at putting into that guitar. And then the tone on top of it, that's a given, but it's got to start there. You got a feel, you got sound, what else you have? Looks.
Collings electric guitars incorporates a few huge aspects to a guitar. The sound has to be there, that goes without being said. But there's something about the way that they look. So what is the top of the guitar? It's the face, it's the look, it's the character. Is this sculpture? Is this piece of artwork that you almost don't want to put back in the case because you're just as happy to look at it as you are to actually play it? And you really have to hand it to Bill with his design sense and then the ability of people here to actually create that.
The funny thing is when you're dealing with wood too, it has a life. I mean, it had a life, and it continues to have a life even once it's, you know, taken from a tree to a guitar.
You're working with organic materials. Even the pickups will measure slightly different depending on temperature or what day or who wound it or how tight the cover's soldered on, and the color, the grain orientation, and all of these things. So it's almost like you're creating a living machine.
Guitar in general is really an idiotic instrument. That is the basic design of a guitar. I mean, it's like, okay, it's tuned in fourths except for this one string, and so the odds are against all of us from its inception, basically, you know. And so anyone that makes that a little bit easier on guitarists, you know, that's grounds for sainthood almost. You know?
You know, we wouldn't be here without Bill, and without that drive and that energy that he has. It's kind of like the Energizer Bunny on steroids, and it never stops. The burners are going 24/7.
Electric guitars, there's nothing perfect. You just work real hard at making the next ones nicer and better. And I can walk in that room today and they're awesome, okay? But I don't always feel that. We always try to make it better. It's just what we do. I don't know why, but we do it.